Hello and welcome to Breakfast Central on a Tuesday morning. What's good? Thank you so much for joining us. This is where you get the latest stories as it goes. We're proud to be here on a Tuesday. My name is Joe Hansen.
And I'm Benga Borough. Welcome to the #1 breakfast television show in West Africa. This is Breakfast Central. This is where we bring you the latest information, news, analysis, insights, and some side gist on what Nigerians are saying. There's Which Way Nigeria. There's also wake-up conversations. And I'm always excited about wake-up conversations because the topics we discuss sometimes gets us animated and agitated. And I'm wondering what we have this morning. Mixed feelings.
Mixed feelings, Benga. First off, we did congratulate the Super Falcons when they came back, especially from yesterday. We had mentioned when our correspondent who was live in Morocco joined us and talked about how they are about to return back to Nigeria. Celebratory mode, very fantastic. However, yesterday the president did crown it up with a very, very beautiful offer. The girls were given a largesse and they would be going home with a total of about 150 million naira, while the coaches were given $50,000. No, individually.
Okay.
Individually.
So the whole 22 girls, the 22 girls who went for the tournament, or 23, will get 150 million naira each. Do you know what that factors into? That's more than $1 billion naira.
Binga, I mean, who would rather not do it for the girls? They've won it for the 10th time.
Okay, you've won it for the 10th time.
The 10th time.
I don't want to sound like a hater, but I think that money is too much, especially for a country. Yesterday, when I did Which Way Nigeria, I was talking about the amount of money we're borrowing. Exactly. We're not Switzerland. We're not Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We're not Qatar. We're not a country that is swimming in wealth. You go around the teaching hospitals, the universities, just go and look at their facilities, and then you think, what a country that can't take care of its doctors, can't take care of its teachers. You still saw police pensioners complaining the other day. And then, look, it's no diss to the girls. I celebrate them, fantastic. They did a great job, but $100,000 each, I think, is overboard. That's too much for a country like Nigeria, especially at this point in our nationhood. I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate them. They got national honors, too, let's not forget. 150 million naira, come on, for doing their jobs. Because at the end of the day, they're doing the jobs. Look at the soldiers that die in the front lines. They're also doing their jobs. They've sacrificed even more. They get 3,000 naira a day feeding allowance, soldiers in the Nigerian army. And these girls are not, kudos to them. I mean, it's not, I won't blame the girls. It's the people that decided that 150 million naira each is what they should get at this point in time in our nationhood. Joe, I think this just makes me want to, I'm just rethinking my career. Maybe I can come back to this world as a female footballer.
Well, Benga, say no more. Say no more to our viewers who are watching us now. Let's get your reaction, most importantly, this morning as you wake up. You could pick up your phones and let us know what you think if the monies that were given to the girls was too much. But for me, Benga,
whoa! What's going on, fam?
Benga, I've made up my mind that...
you are leaving journalism.
I'm leaving journalism.
Oh.
If they
Age
can
is
give
not on your
them...
side.
Benga.
No, don't let Fabrizio see you. They might sign you.
Here we go.
Chelsea, and you're already going to
I've made up my mind because 100 and... Benga.
No skills. I didn't know you were this skillful. What are you doing in journalism? But you know what? This is female football. Are you willing to change your name to Josephine from Jonathan?
Sometimes.
No, it's female football that pays. Because I don't think the guys have ever received this sort of...
But come to think of, you're right,
goodies.
They promised the Super Eagles when they won AFCON in 1994 that they will get houses in Abuja and choice areas.
Yeah.
That team was made up of Finidi George, Austin Jejo, Kocha, you can go on and go on, Peter Rufai, the late Peter Rufai.
I think the promise was only fulfilled recently.
31 years, just recently.
Yes.
They just got the houses. 31 years after. So this was promised under the regime of General Sani Abacha.
What are you trying to insinuate here? Or I'm thinking too far. No, they will get their money. I mean, a promise made is a promise made.
I hope, what we're trying to say now, I hope that the girls will get their money, you know, and we hope that the promises will not fail. Anyway, but they said they're going to give them, now take note, this is where I'm worried. They said they're going to give them 3-bedroom flats in the renewed Hope Estate. The estates are not ready yet.
They'll be ready.
You have hope too.
Yeah,
so
I have hope that there's renewed hope
that it will be ready.
It will be ready.
We hope they wouldn't have to wait for 30 years.
And it's one of the things that Mr. President would want to use as for campaigning in 2027. So it better be ready.
We don't know what your thoughts are, but let's see what the president said while he welcomed the Super Falcons who made their way to the villa. It was indeed a celebration of some sort. Let's take a look.
In addition, there is a cash award of the Naira equivalent of 100,000 US dollars each to the 24 players and the equivalent of 50,000 to the 11-man technical team. Crucial time, crucial victory. On behalf of the grateful nation, I hereby conferred on the players the 11-man technical team with national honor of officer. I hereby direct the allocation of 3-bedroom apartments and technical crew in our renewed Hope Estate. In addition, there is a cash award of the Naira equivalent of 100,000 US dollars each to the 24 players and the equivalent of 50,000 to the 11-man technical team. I congratulate you, and I will continue to pray for you. With this, Nigerian spirit is unyielding and will never die. God bless you.
We are very grateful to Mr. President, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our father, a great father to the nation, and our mother, Senator Oluremi Tinubu. This is the first time a president will host the Super Falcons of Nigeria to a presidential reception in the 10 times that we have won the Africa Women's Championship, now known as Women's Africa Cup of Nations. The first time a president will host the Super Falcons in the 10 times they have won this tournament. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, we can say thank you. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Honor should be given to whom honor is due.
We agree. Well, you've highlighted the fact that based on what the country is going through and the economy, maybe that money seems to be too much.
And what other people are sacrificing.
Yeah, but let me also remind Nigerians that the former president, President Muhammadu Buhari, late President Muhammadu Buhari, right before his demise, during his administration, he also honored some players. He honored the class of, I think, 1985. That's on FIFA under 16, and also he honored the FIFA under 17. That's way back. Now, let me quickly reel out what he gave to them. Various monetary rewards were given to the FIFA under 16 World Cup winners. Yes, he gave them something. Now, what did he give to them? Let's look at it. Well, he gave them 1.2 million naira. 1.2 million naira for the 2015 FIFA Under-17 World Champions.
Okay.
And then he gave 500,000 naira each. 500,000 naira for the FIFA Under-23 Cup of Nations winners, who were actually doled out by Buhari. So that's what he gave them. He also gave them a token of appreciation for their efforts and patriotism. He made mention of that. The president directed a 1-minute silence in honor of the late Kingsley Aikubari. If you remember him, he was a member of the Under-16 World Champions of 1985, who died in London in 1996. So let's compare this. Exactly. 2016, this was 2016.
Yeah.
And this is 2025. Can we say because there's currency change?
Nah, I mean, this is a whole lot of, it's a huge
President
divide.
Buhari gave 2.5 million, 1.5 million, and 500,000 naira
It's huge.
concurrently.
I mean, I've seen first-class people, first-class graduates on
The first-class graduates who are being
Twitter,
given.
where Adekunle Gold was giving them 250,000. I mean, I'm not saying
That's
this
from
girls
his
don't
own
deserve
pocket
it.
to
Yes,
trying to
from his-
encourage them.
From his pocket, I'm not saying this girls don't deserve it. The house is fantastic, good enough. The national honor, good enough. If you put a price, if you give them 5 million, 10 million, I think 10 million is decent enough.
But 100,
150
yeah, using the exchange rate, $1,000.
million naira for playing 7 games. I mean, okay.
Anyway.
I know it's not.
You
It's
be the
my-
judge.
I'm only
Yeah,
expressing
it's-
my opinion here. We would like to know what your thoughts are. So it's just my opinion.
Anyway,
I'm not hating on the girls. I celebrate the girls, but I just think this time of our nationhood,
where the police officers are asking for money,
current socioeconomic
doctors are on strike. Lagos State is
situation.
begging the doctors not to go on strike to return to work. You also have the educational system in a complete
Yes.
comatose, a state of.
I mean, we do this every day.
We're tired. We talk about it every now and
we
then.
talk about it every day.
Yeah. I mean, fair enough. We celebrate the Super Falcons. Well done. But I think we're also trying to weigh the divide. Two sides to a coin. People are saying, well done, good mood, and hopefully the presidency will keep to its promises. But there's also another angle, which is what we just discussed. What about the institutions that drive the economy itself? We'll talk about education, healthcare, not forgetting to the security and so on. But we'll leave that.
Build the nation.
Yeah. We'll leave that to the presidency and then. But there was also a tweet from the SSA celebrating the girls, talking about Mr. Bayo Nanuga having a tweet and talk about the celebration that took place, especially in the villa. But from one story to the other, we're going to flip the coin again this time. We'll go to a story that many have followed religiously.
Especially users of social media. We'll be very familiar with this story.
And when he starts,
P1 Real Estate Company.
because P1 Real Estate Company, the real estate company that is selling. What are we talking about here? Well, if you follow the story with a man who has joined us here on Breakfast Central many times, Scott Iguma, he was recently arrested and fingers were pointed to P1 Real Estate Company for orchestrating his arrest, working in connivance with the police authorities. That's a picture of him, and the hand you see him holding is a hand in which he said he was bleeding. Reasons? He made a long video explaining how the police decided to handcuff him, tie his hands to the back, and the handcuff was so tight, and they kept telling him that he was going to face the wrath of law since he was proving to be very stubborn and not yielding to the directives to stop calling out P1 Real Estate.
I mean, this all started when people, alleged victims of P1 sent him receipts that, look, they've paid for land allocation and they've gotten nothing, no refund, no land, and he took it upon himself to petition the EFCC. But pending the investigation of the EFCC, I guess the chairman of P1 Real Estate made a complaint to the police alleging cyberbullying and defamation of character. So things got really ugly, and he was arraigned before, I believe he's out on bail now. But let's take a listen.
Happens to me, P1 should be the #1 suspect. If I go missing, P1 should be the #1 suspect. If anything happens to my family, nuclear or extended, P1 should be the #1 suspect. If I fall sick, P1 should be the #1 suspect, because I see no reason why P1 is going around and calling people.
So that's one of the first videos before his arrest, where he had made mention that should anything happen to him, Nigerians should hold P1 responsible. Now, after that video, he was indeed called and then arrested.
Yeah. And while he was arrested, he went through an ordeal, which he explained on social media. He didn't eat for 2 days. He was intimidated. I mean, it was almost like there was a personal vendetta against him.
Absolutely.
And this is a man that is trying to, highlight the plight of people who've been cheated. The Security and Exchanges Commission in Abuja did mention that P1's operations was Ponzi-like.
Exactly.
And that's from the SEC. So I'm also wondering why the chairman of P1 Real Estate hasn't taken up the SEC for defamation of character or for cyberbullying.
You just asked the best question, and that's the best question. Why hasn't P1 come on national television? By the way, we've sent a request to P1, so if you're watching, if you remember you work there, we've sent official emails to P1 requesting that they come on Breakfast Central to explain and break down what Nigerians shouldn't know. Yeah. And that's the question. If the Securities Exchange Commission, which is the authority body that oversees things like these, whether it's in transactions, in business dealings, in schemes, has highlighted that P1 is a Ponzi scheme-like organization. It didn't come from Scott.
I mean, naturally, what the police should do is, a citizen has done some
investigations for us.
He has petitions, he has names.
That's it.
Let's seek justice for those who have been cheated.
Yeah.
In this case, it seems the Nigerian police is working against the rules of justice. And it's not week on week, every other week, there's a complaint about the conduct and professionalism of men of the Nigerian police force. Just yesterday in Delta State, some 5 police officers were arraigned orderly room trial. They will face orderly room trial for, manhandling a young man in Delta State. Just every other day, there's one complaint or the other. And he, in this case, fingered the Deputy Commissioner of Police in Panti, saying he's working hand in hand with P1 Real Estate Company. But these are all allegations. And I hope the police authorities, higher ups in Abuja,
to crown it all up,
would do a thorough investigation.
To crown it all up, the price advocate, Scott Iguma, eventually laid his hands on a phone call conversation.
Oh, yes.
And that conversation just opened a can of worms, which I'm expecting that by now, the police would have been on his way to also call on the P1 chairman to present himself and let them look through everything. By now, I think the lawyers should have jumped on it and said, okay, let's go.
And last week, we spoke to the spokesperson of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Yes.
I believe you asked him a question related to this P1 Real Estate Company, and he did acknowledge that, yes, he's aware of what's going on, and they have some of the case files. So we're also waiting for the EFCC to do a thorough investigation, invite the parties, and hopefully would get justice in this situation.
But let's listen to the audio. Let's take just a snippet, see what he said.
It's only built for 13 years. We carry almost millions of people. Yes, sir. He's committing a crime. He's a criminal. He's a criminal. Can you hear me?
He's breaking. That's why I'm walking around. So I'm even walking around the office to see if I can.
Hello, sir. I said he's a criminal.
Yes, I can hear you.
He's a criminal. The guy is a criminal.
All his intention is to meet you and maybe seek for a little tip or something.
Little tip. Once you give him one, he will be he will be asking for more.
Yes, it will be. Exactly. He's a very stupid person, sir. Very stupid. Small boy. Small boy.
Now you've heard them for yourself. So it was their very plan to arrest me the very first time I was invited to the DCP's office. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, Yaba Panti, Lagos. It was their plan to arrest me that very first time. But I can't tell them, say, if we go discuss anything, the chairman must be here. And the lawyer said, I'm not powerful enough to have a meeting with the chairman. And he can hear the chairman say, who is he? That way I will have a meeting with, who is he? And the chairman should stood so low to come and have a meeting with me. You heard him for yourself. He called me a criminal several times. He's a criminal. He's a criminal. He kept on calling me a criminal. Called me a small boy. That's why the second time when I went to the DCP's office, when I went to the Deputy Commissioner of Police office,
You know, sometimes you wonder, what country is Nigeria becoming?
And because different sets of rules for
different set of, and I'm going to say it here and I'll say it again, and I think I'll keep repeating it. The name Nigeria means different things to different people. I keep saying that Nigeria is for those who have a separate law. The law does not apply to them. In short, they can circumvent the law. They can adjust the law. And then you have RIA. RIA is for those the masses. They don't have, the law does not apply to them. And why do I say this? In as much as we asked the EFCC spokesperson, yes, in as much as we asked the EFCC spokesperson and he said, oh, it's not everything that they have to come out to talk about, that some work is going on underground. I dare to say this, that if it were RIA, which is the masses, this case would have been long concluded. They would have picked up every single person, locked them up by now. But because a certain individuals belong to Nigeria, which, of course, where I'm trying to divide it, imagine a chairman who has been peddled to have his hands on shady businesses, allegedly. All we expect is that, okay, thorough investigation. This man has done our job for us. Call him in, bring him in, let's take a look at every single thing that he's done. Okay, insaner climbs, you'll be invited. Thailand, even the United States of America where you go to cool off, even in France where you go to cool off, it doesn't see status, justice knows no status.
The Israeli Prime Minister, as we speak, is facing trial, corruption trial, and he still goes to court, even in the midst of a war. But let's take reactions from social media. Now we have Hyman. He says, according to the leaked call you just posted, they didn't plan your arrest. Although their calls is for suspicious and obvious that they're playing dirty games. If it's clean, he won't hesitate to come meet you in person. If it's clean, he won't have thoughts of bribing you. And I am G says, this country belongs to our citizens and not those working for us. The Nigerian police needs to call the officers to order. There are no internal organs to bring about civil action on erring officers, else the continuous misbehavior of its officers, but rank and file in Nigeria in 2025. I'd like to say something about this. Yeah. You know, I think the Nigerian police is overwhelmed with disciplinary cases of and behavior of its men and personnel. Just yesterday, Brighton affair, the PRO of Delta State Police Command did make the announcement of those.
We have that story too.
Oddly, those policemen that were arrested for brutalizing a citizen. It's one day this and that, and you wonder if the police will ever catch a break.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But then again, drop your reactions. Let's know what you think. We're live streaming on YouTube and other social media platforms. Let's move on now to another story. You just mentioned the police officer, Bright Adafi. Well, he's also in the news, and the story simply is that there's a video that he did put up. And I must say this. I appreciate him. And I appreciate him for one reason, and he has my respect. Because he is one police officer who has decided to take it upon himself to use social media the right way. Now, there's something called the use of social media, especially in communications. And he's one of the persons who has done that, where he has used the law or the ambit of the law to explain, share, and give in details some very important information that circles around crime and crisis. But let's take a listen to this particular one. I can bet you it will shock you.
Having 3 suspects. One of them is a 27-year-old lady who just got married March. She will be the one that will explain why she's here, but I can assure you that it will be very shocking. What is your name?
Merit. Ele.
Merit. Okay, Merit got married March this year, and according to her, she said she was given money by a younger brother or elder brother, as the case may be, to purchase a tricycle, and she used that money to sponsor, you say your, what did you call it again?
Bridal shower.
Bridal shower. She used the money for her bridal shower. Now, it did not end there. On Sunday this week, that is, what's that date?
20th.
On the 20th of this month, July 2025, she told her husband she was coming, and the next thing we heard was that she has been kidnapped. The ransom money was paid. The ransom of how much? 3 million naira was paid. But the husband did not give up. The husband followed up with the case he had already reported at the State Special Anti-Kidnapping and Cyber Crime Squad, and will continue to work until we arrested one of the suspects who eventually let the cat out of the bag. What you can't do?
So I now masterminded the plan to forge that I was kidnapped.
You masterminded the plan to say you were kidnapped.
Yes, sir.
With who and who?
Peter and
you don't know the other one name. Where you from? No, Peter.
he works at where I was staying before as a security personnel there.
Okay. So how much your husband eventually pay?
3 million.
3 million. Who paid the money?
Him and my brothers.
Okay, your husband and your brothers.
Yes, sir.
So when the 3 million come reach your hand, what will you come do?
We went to a POS woman shop.
Okay.
They transferred to the POS woman. So she put 2.5 in my account and gave them 500,000 naira cash.
Okay, you gave your accomplices 500,000, you 2.5 million. You don't have man now. I don't be hammer, you hammer. So where the 2.5 million naira now?
It's my account, sir.
I mean, these are the things we
So you
discussed
say,
on Friday, talking about erosion of values and how people are so desperate in the system. I mean, how do you do this to your own husband? What's his 2.5 million?
Bridal shower. So you claim that you were kidnapped, and then you connived with a few persons, 3 million, you took 2.5, you gave them 500 cash. Is that a wife?
Wife mats around the mud.
I beg you.
It's really sad, man.
It's something else. But then again, instead of her to do that, she would have enrolled in a football academy.
Exactly.
Try her skills, because she sounds young.
Try your best.
You never could tell. You might play for the Falcons,
and instead of 2.5 million illegally,
you will get 150 million. Benga.
Plus house and national honor.
Maybe we're in the wrong profession.
So after this, take that football. Let's go outside.
Yeah, after this.
On the express road.
I think I will make my choice after today.
It's not too late.
HR, we are coming for you. But let's bring to you the top stories, Benga. It's not too late. We can do it. We can. The top stories for today. Today on Breakfast Central, reps propose single-day voting, and Nigerians are excited about this one. Hopefully it scales through. Lagos APC members protest ahead of 2027 elections. That's exactly what's going on. We'll find out why they're protesting. Don't give Kwankwaso undue attention. NNPP tells President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, don't answer him. Can ADC win in 2027? That's a big question, because we see what's happening in the SDP, and is the coalition really working? And then we have the front pages of the newspapers where you can call in live and drop your 2 cents. We'll be right back to begin.
Nigeria's House of Representatives has tabled before it a proposal suggesting all elections in the country be held on a single day in 2027. Should the proposal be approved, the revised Electoral Act would grant INEC the authority to hold The elections for President, Senate, House of Representatives, Governors, and State House of Assemblies, all on the same day. The proposed amendments by the House of Representatives and the National Assembly involve political associations aiming to register as parties would be required to pay 50 million naira. Presidential campaign spending would also be capped at 10 billion naira.
Elections would be held 120 days prior to the current office holder's term ending, and election petitions would need to be resolved within 90 days following the vote. The House has also initiated measures to address the frequent by-elections caused by the resignation or death of state and National Assembly members. They propose that the political party which originally endorsed the departing or deceased member should be responsible for nominating their successor. But let's go straight into this conversation, as we do have our guests joining us for this. Joining us very quickly, we have the National Director General, Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, Prince Dr. Chinedu Obi, who joins us this morning. Good morning and thank you for being here.
And thanks for inviting me.
All right. For many Nigerians, this sounds like a very good news because it's been a long time coming. We keep wondering why we spend so much money, so much time to run elections, our election cycle differently. What will this mean, especially for Nigeria's democracy? Looking at the fact that what we currently practice has been pictured to be very, very expensive and time-consuming.
Yes, the cost of election has been a serious concern to stakeholders, particularly the Inter-Party Advisory Council. In its recent effort to make contributions towards the Electoral Act 2022 amendment, he came up with certain recommendations.
We seem to be having logistical challenges with this, and it would be nice to also hear INEC. It's one thing to propose, it's another thing to have the ability to conduct this. So it would be nice to, at some point, hear from the INEC chairman and the higher-ups at INEC if they have the means and the capacity to conduct 5 simultaneous elections in one day, because it's going to be a logistical nightmare. More paperwork. They will have to cover all nooks and crannies. And you know, elections is not just the voting process. You also have collation and announcements. We're talking State House of Assembly elections. We're talking gubernatorial elections. We're talking senatorial elections and presidential elections. It's quite a lot to pack into one day. But what it means is
maybe we'll add the local government as well.
Maybe in the future, maybe. But I mean, in the true sense of it, what it would only require is extra paper, extra ballots for the different elections, and then collation and announcements will take a longer period. But look, we need to talk about time management.
Do you think? I also do. I'm of a different thought concerning the duration of our announcement. I think it will be faster. I mean, we could take a cue from the United States of America, of course, who many view as the citadel to democracy. We could also look at Ghana. I mean, Ghana just finished its elections, and we could see how smooth running it was. So I would say if it's a single day voting, yes, you've rightly mentioned more papers, documentation. I also agree personnel, but I think it will be well managed. In that case, it also leaves room for accountability where things are reduced. But then again, we have Dr. Prince Dr. Obi joining us again. Please go ahead. Earlier on, we're trying to explain, while you were talking, before the network did cut off, you were explaining what this would mean for Nigeria's democracy. You can go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you very much. I said that would guarantee credible election in Nigeria, and particularly deal with the bandwagon effect that usually follow elections, when maybe you carry out the first election and the presidency goes to a particular party. The tendency in the past is that you find that people will want to follow that bandwagon. But if you do this it will promote multi-party democracy because other parties will have the opportunity of having persons decide independently to vote them in so that we can have multi-party democracy. So I think this development is good for the nation, apart from saving costs and the man-resources that we spend. You see the level of violence that go in some of the elections. There's hardly any election you carry out in this country that you don't have some level of rascality and bloodletting. If you put this together and you have them one day, it would help our democracy.
I mean, it's one thing to propose, it's another thing to execute. Prince, do you think INEC can realistically manage the logistics of multiple simultaneous elections in one day, looking at its history and challenges it's faced in the past?
Absolutely, INEC can. What you require basically is to just maybe have a little more, one or two more ballot papers, as I guess what you used to have. In some areas in Nigeria, election finish as early as 2 p.m., 3 p.m. In fact, the core issue you used to have before is basically maybe issue of logistics, moving materials from one place to the other, from the rack center to the polling unit. But you notice that even in recent times, that has improved substantially. So the additional 1 or 2 elections that will join in the same day will not be difficult for INEC to deal with. Yes, we have small logistic issues, but these are things that can be dealt with. Another recommendation we've made, which is the electronic voting. We have also canvassed that we'll move to the regime of electronic voting so that these things can be seamless. Today, people sit at the comfort of their homes and do all sorts of transactions using the ICT enablement. So we can also advance in that direction to make this happen. But certainly, INEC has the capacity to do that.
All right. I mean, I do recall that in Indonesia, as soon as they switched to democracy, particularly in 2019, April, they carried out their election, and it was a single-day election, which is single-day voting process. It was quite overwhelming at some point because you have a total of about 190 million Indonesians who did come out, and in certain states there was a slow approach towards materials arriving on time and so on. But overall, it was said to be a very incisive and very good process. We've looked at a country like Indonesia where, let's just keep it at 190 million back then in 2019, which means they've possibly increased in number and size. And let's come down to Nigeria where we're over about 250 million. There are concerns about the numbers of Nigerians. Benga has asked, can INEC absorb this in one day? I want you to also touch on the aspect of what will happen to voter fatigue, what will happen to INEC and its personnel, where most times we know they are either here nor there. Do you think we're fully ready for this, or do you think we should give it maybe 10 years' time, or maybe another election cycle, like three more years to go?
Well, generally all over the world, change is usually viewed with concern, suspicion, and fear. People tend to get scared when you need to try something new. But thank God you have references in countries where they've happened. The challenges are not so much enormous. What you need to understand is the operationalization of voting in one day. The core issue is that you now would have maybe additional 1 or 2 ballot papers. Every other logistics is the same. It's just that you have additional. So the time you will be considering that is issue of counting the number of votes, because if it were to take you maybe 2 hours to do your counting, you probably need additional 1 hour. And like I said, in some areas in Nigeria, we've had elections started and completed before 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Worst case scenario, you find 3:30, and extreme cases is 4. It's only in places where in the past that you have late deployment. So the issue is the logistics of deployment. Once you can get that settled, that polling materials get to polling centers as early as 8 o'clock, there's no way by 2 o'clock, even if you're adding 3-4 more ballot papers, that you cannot conclude the process. So the challenge will be to deal with issue of deployment and logistics around taking materials and personnel to the polling centers. I think I don't see it as something that cannot be handled. INEC over time at the end of every election go back to look at areas where they haven't done well and make efforts. In the last few months, the Mahmoud-led INEC have been very proactive in looking at doing even their own self-appraisal. You need to see a document over 500 pages of their self-appraisal of the election, not even a standard appraisal of what they need to do differently. And consistently, they'll be working on it, constantly working with the political parties. There've been a lot of movements in the right direction. So give it to INEC. I believe INEC should be able to deal with this now. So the idea of the fear around Nigerians getting worried about whether this can happen should just be something we need to try. The test of the pudding, they say, is in the eating.
Now, Prince, I do appreciate your optimism and your confidence in the electoral umpire, the INEC. But in recent times, we've seen that a lot of electoral cases end up in courts. People have often said that the role of the judiciary is not to declare winners for elections, and that's INEC's purview. Having said that, in this new proposal to the Electoral Act, we do remember that we always have court cases. In the system, we already operate. And now, when you pack all these elections into a single day, people would have complaints about, election materials didn't get to their polling units on time, they have logistical challenges and all of that, and they might most likely end up in court. Knowing that we're having all these simultaneous elections at the same time, let's talk about the tight legal timelines. 90 days for petitions, 60 days for appeals. Is it enough time for justice or just a rush to judgments, given that we are most likely going to have a litigation if you pack all those elections in one day? How do we deal with that hurdle?
The post-election, petitions and complaints is something that even if you do the election one a day for a period of 1 month, and the mentality of the average Nigerian politician that believes that all you need to do is win at all costs, even if you establish all standard procedure and they are followed to the letter, and you give all the timelines in the whole world, that desperation of some politicians to want to win election at all costs will always bring about post-election agitation, So you will never find a perfect system where the average Nigerian politician will feel that everything is good. There's always going to be that tendency of people who complain. Yes, I agree that transparent processes to a very large extent will reduce the post-election petitions and struggles. However, the change of attitude of the average Nigerian, and this thing that we've always continued talked about, to see how we can make political offices in Nigeria less attractive so that it can reduce to a very large extent the desperation of the average Nigerian politician to cling to power.
Well, I'm sure that we would hope the bill is looked into once again, especially a cross-section of Nigerians who are truly pushing and campaigning for a single-day voting process. I want to thank you so much for speaking with us. Thank you, Prince Dr. Chinedu Obi, the Director General, Inter-Party Advisory Council. And we look forward to have you again, especially when we want to expatiate more on this topic. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Nigerians.
All right. Well, let's now go to Abuja. That's where we're going to, where we do have our correspondent. I understand we have Sumaya
Abubakar.
Yes, who's on ground. There seems to be a little information that's coming from the Federal Capital Territory. It's got to do with its cleanness, or better still, how clean the area simply is. But residents of the Federal Capital Territory, especially those living in satellite communities, say that the inability of the Federal Capital Territory Administration to effectively evacuate refuse piling up at disposal points is now becoming a source of grave concerns. In several satellite communities, New Central Television correspondents across the city centre say mountains of refuse, as you can see there on the screen, are piling, and they are now affecting the free flow of traffic. Some are even cutting into the roads right there on the screen. But let's join Sumaya, who's here live with us, especially via video conferencing. Good morning. I can see just to the right on your over your shoulder the pile of dirt. Can you share with us what's really happening in the Federal Capital Territory?
Good morning, John. Good morning, Brother. Of course, I am like here in Faro. Faro, of course, is an old community right outside, facing of the FPC. And yes, behind me, I will have to make some movements a bit. Behind me here, you can see this is a pile of dirt. Now, on the normal day, I will tell you that this is just not how it used to be, because you can see a bit of a left out from the ground, and someone in the area was telling me that all I need to do is to give it 2 weeks, and before 2 weeks, this would pile up and block half of the road. According to, of course, some of the residents who have refused to talk to us, because I've noticed something while being here taking a few clips. I've noticed someone coming in and then trying to even get the Meshara, as we call it over here, that's the people that come to your house to help you pack the waste, and then you pay them wages. So he was telling them not to pour it by the roadside and push them way back in. Now, last time I did a report on that, she said they noticed something like that, where people were asked not to talk to the media or not to talk to us, because this seems to be something that is recurring. And truly, after that report, it was immediately passed, because they noticed New Central activities and us covering the story. But then it is back again. So this is not something that government. This is something that's been going on. And of course, in terms of the the proportion of this, we know that the health hazard. Now, behind this waste bin, the side of it, is actually a river, a really mini river down there, and it's also the opposite. So when you actually pour this dirt here, it's actually blocking the water that is supposed to come and pour, and enter down that path. So this is a case of blocking the waterway, which of course we call flooding, and this is a newly done road, newly reconstructed road. So the water will now sit on the road, and before you know it, you start having the road breakage and all. So also there's a fear of, when it comes to the health hazard, fear of rodents. There are flies everywhere, mosquitoes, and of course there is a possible cholera infection that could come out of this. This place stinks. It smells horribly, and people are passing. Pedestrians, of course, you see people just walking by here, and most of them will be covering their faces. So this is the current situation. According to some of the residents, they say that MCDA is supposed to be the one allocating land for for waste disposal, but then they're not paying anything. But I have to also blame the local authorities around here. Nothing is done. This is something that's been going on for a while. Now I understand that way back there were no buildings around here, so this was considered the dumping ground. But right now, apart from us having shops just by the roadside, there is a residential. This is basically a residential area, because Faro, like I said, is one of the oldest city or town, the FPC. So this is currently what is going on. Frustration of passerbys. You can see from their faces. Anybody is passing is concerned. But then there is the fear of it is the rainy season. So when rain becomes super heavy and then this continues, then of course there will be traffic block. It's going to be slow. The frustration would be on the users, commuters, and even residents. So this is probably what is going on from this aspect.
Baka, I still have a few more questions, 2 questions here. The first is, can you give us a sense of geography of where Cairo is in comparison? How far is it from the city center? And thank you for highlighting this very serious health and environmental hazard. I can only imagine the stench there where you're standing. It's really, really terrible. And it looks like it's been going on, because it doesn't look like refuse that just started piling up. It looks like it's been ongoing for quite a number of months. What are the authorities telling you? Who is responsible for this? And why haven't they done something about this? And is this problem just a Cairo problem, or it's also present in different satellite towns and areas of the metropolis?
But I would like to start by saying I feel like my stomach is messed up from this sense. But then that is, of course, the hazard of the job. When we're talking about kilometers from the city, the city center, let's say about, I don't know, maybe 10 kilometers. So it is not far. Even though when you're coming to the outskirts towards Nassau State, Parasang before and Lenya is the boundary between Nassau State and the FCC. So I guess there is no much distance, especially if there is no road that you can get here from the city center in about say 15 to 20 minutes. So this is an area that should pass the FCC's administrations and of course, when we're talking about how this whole situation is, like I said, while standing here, I noticed somebody coming to talk about, to tell them, because one of them interrupted them and they were pouring it right beside here, just really close to here, on the floor. So it's like coming right into the middle of the street. But then this person was screaming at them and saying that they shouldn't pour it there. So obviously, this locality has people that should pay attention to this thing, but then nothing is being done about it. Some of them are blaming, the FCC. They say there should be allocation. There should be a shift from this place, as since this is obviously occupied now, to other places. And I need to also point something really important. Right behind me here, I don't know if you can see it. There's a green area right above. That is actually a graveyard. Way up there. That is a graveyard there. So even with the graveyard close by, people are literally still pouring dirt here. And I don't know, but I believe that is disrespect to the dead. So this is a case of this has been happening. Nothing has been done about it. The locals are not helping, because as much as we want to blame the government, the locals need to also do what needs to be done. And obviously, they could have done something with that person, making moves to ensure that it is at least pushed to the inside. But then imagine if this is not passed, and then we can vote on again for the next 2 weeks. Of course, this will pile up. Somebody I was able to talk to about the work about refused, of course, to talk to us. He seemed scared and quickly, drifted away and went away when he noticed that I was a journalist. And he said that this is a situation that has been going on. There are people that are in charge of these things, but then nobody is doing anything about it. And he sounded frustrated. So this is what is really going on. It is really irritating. And of course, I would say that this is not a Cairo problem. If I remember, one of the questions said that this is not a Cairo problem alone. On Sunday, I was driving down to Kurudi. I noticed that when I think a road before the Kurudi. We have been noticing around in the course of our work around here with the rest of our colleagues that there seems to be a dumping situation, wrong dumping situation in the FCC local or satellite areas. So that is what is going on, and it's making the city to start smelling. Abuja was never meant to be a smelling town, but then currently this is seems to be the situation.
For that update, and we really do hope that the authorities will do something about it. She did talk about towards the end the other areas in Abuja that have this graveyard problem. So let's cross over to Joshua Imerai in Lugbe Airport Road in Abuja to give us an update on the refuse situation there. Joshua, good morning to you. You're not looking so happy like you look when you give us reports from the courts and the International Conference Center and other palatable places. But I guess it's journalism, and Joe and I are very happy to be in the air-conditioned studio asking those questions from here. But go ahead, Joshua, go ahead, please.
Good morning to the breakfast place. I have arrived currently at Lugbe Airport Road.
of course, the Kruger Road here has its own essence because it is connecting to the airport and down to the city center. But behind me is a growing refugee dump, as you can see. This is as a result of human effort. We cannot rule out the impact of humans, particularly these people. Standing here this morning, I noticed some persons, not less than 5 persons, who came here to dump 30 refugees, as well as those who live in the office. There are some men who go around the river collecting waste from various houses, and at the end of the day, they gather those waste, and this happens to be the end point of those waste. Standing here this morning, I could observe, unfortunately for some people, this place seems to be a bus stop. If I should take you, turn the camera so you see, this place happens to be a bus stop. And as you can see, there are some people standing here waiting for vehicles to come pick them up. But unfortunately for them, they have to bear the smell coming out from this particular place. This place is stinking. And one sorry state about this place is that this place happens to be on the highway. You could see vehicles passing by. You could see the refuse dump behind me here. And I don't want to say that this has not caught the attention of the authorities who are responsible for this place. So that is the current situation here at Lugbe Airport Road here in Abuja.
Well, is there any sign or a signpost that encourages people to dump refuse there? Or is there any reaction from the neighbors? What have they said? People who are living within these areas, what have they said about this indiscriminate ways of people dumping refuse just right there on the road?
Unfortunately, there's just signposts indicating any caveat that this is not a dumping site. And the major signpost we are seeing here is this refuse dump, encouraging people to come dump more waste in this particular place. And of course, this place is fenced. There's a fence barricading this area and the refuse dump area. But if notwithstanding, locals from this area see this place as their permanent refuge site, that most of their refuse are from solid food, solid waste, and the like end up. Notwithstanding, some scavengers see this place as a beehive of economic activities, that they come here at the end of the day, even the early hours of the day, to scavenge to get what they can get from this point. But still, the only signboard we are seeing is this massive refuse dump, encouraging other people to come dump more waste in this particular place. Nobody has said anything. Even those who are on their way to work, they hold a nylon bag or two to fling away. While standing here, I noticed a woman who came on top bike. She had to fling a refuse dump, same as a child who came bearing a bag full of dirt. He to empty the entire content of that bag to this place. So this place happens to be a hot site for dumping refuse.
We have a local authority problem there because you have ordinary citizens dumping the refuse there, and I'm sure if they have proper waste disposal, designated waste disposal areas, it won't happen. My question to you, Joshua, before we let you go is this a satellite problem, satellite area, outskirts problem, and do we have a refuse problem in the parts of the FCT, Garki, Wuse, Sokoro, Maitama, and all of that? The city centre seems to... I'm asking you that question because, I mean, you have a no-nonsense FCT minister. I'm sure if he's aware of this, he wouldn't let it happen. So the parts of the capital where the president's motorcade would likely pass, it seems those places are relatively clean compared to these areas that don't really get the focus of government officials. Please, can you paint a picture for us?
Well, Menga, let us not rule out the part of the president's motorcade passing this area. Of course, when he's going to the airport, he passes the same route, and when coming back from the airport, he passes the same route too. But unfortunately, the satellite tower has this this lingering problem of waste disposal, because this is the satellite tower, as you can see, and most of the people that are residents in this area are low-income earners, particularly for those who could not stay in those high-brow places. This is not the current situation in the exclusive places reserved for maybe the middle class and the high-income earners. Those places have some coordinated form of waste disposal mechanism where they dispose waste into waste bins and those disposers will come pick them up at the end of the day, maybe at the end of the month, to dispose in the appropriate place. But for people in this satellite area, for low-income earners, locals in this area, this is their resort. No place to dump refuse. This is where they come to dump their refuse. This seems to be a structural problem. Maybe the FCT minister and those in authorities have to devise a way around this to ensure that waste are being taken from their houses to the appropriate place. But turning that time, this is where locals in this area are counting their deaths day in, day out, month in, month out, and year in, year out.
Thank you so much, Joshua Marayi. Let's quickly cross over away from Joshua Marayi. Let's join another correspondent of ours who's right there in Abuja to take a look at the reckless dumping of refuse, especially in these areas.
From the background where Joseph is in Kurudu, it's almost like the refuse is fighting for space with the road.
I'm telling you.
It's an absolute eyesore.
We can see that. Idom, can you bring us up to speed? What's happening in your area? Go on.
Okay, I'm actually at Kurudu, and Kurudu is one of the several satellite communities, just as my colleague have stated, one of the several satellite communities in the Federal Capital Territory. And within this, as is where this community is situated, there are several other communities here. And one thing that we all know that is common within all the communities here in terms of waste management is the improper disposal of waste and poor management of waste here. If you can see behind me, just like the video we sent in earlier, let me just shift a bit to show you what's going on behind me. That's the waste management collection site for Kurudu's community here. And what happens here is they collect waste here, and this has stayed for several months without the authority coming to pick them. Normally, these waste are being cleared once in a week, maybe twice in a week. But this time, it has taken months, and it's something, a new practice we've seen in the last 6, 7, 8 months ago. Though New Central has done several reports pertaining to this issue, yet nothing has been done to salvage the situation here. And if you look behind me, it's just one passageway for motorists here, because the waste that has piled up here has covered the whole the road, just leaving one passage for motorists here. And if it gets too thick, you discover that it starts to build traffic jam and traffic around this area here. However, for now, the road is a bit free because most of the motorists using this area have already passed. But that's the situation around here, and that's not just for motorists here. If I stay longer here, you see pedestrians also trying to use the road. The pedestrian path at the other point of the road is already blocked, and so they can't even use. Where I'm standing here is either where they use or they walk to the other lane of the road to use the pedestrian path there. And that's not just the end of it. Even residents living around here also face health crisis, just like it has been featured in our previous reports. They've also explained some of the challenges in terms of health crisis that they've have to face. Me and you, we know very well that leaving such waste here for a very long time and it's decomposing, the kind of offensive smell it brings out and pollutes the air. Just as I explained now, what you can see here is just almost the same situation you get to see across the whole communities in these axis.
All right, Joseph, are the authorities aware of this menace, this impending environmental, the ticking time bomb? Because you could have a disease outbreak at any point in time. This is an absolute eyesore. Are the authorities in the federal capital aware of this waste problem?
Well, I would say that they are aware of it because we've done several reports and that has been pushed far. I'm very sure they are aware of it. Though we've spoken to some of the residents around here to ask if they have been informed of what is really the issue, why such waste keep piling up without the authority coming to clear them up. And someone I spoke to recently just told me that maybe it's because the contractors handling the waste management in this area, their contract has expired. And so that is their situation here. So they have to wait until the government feels it's relevant to come and clear it, that's when they come to clear it. That's why this waste most times takes months before they are being cleared from here. So I'm very sure that the FCT administration is aware of the situation, because it is not just at the Kurudu community here. Every other community here, and just like the one my colleagues also have mentioned, it is all over the satellite community in the FCT.
All right, thank you so much, Idong Joseph, and we hope that the FCT minister is watching and he would act immediately. Thanks for your time, and thanks to the other correspondents who did join us during this incisive expose, if we put it that way.
I mean, it's quite shocking, the images, and you don't expect that from the FCT. My image of the FCT is squeaky clean and all of this. This is from the FCT that use, I mean, more than 20 billion naira to renovate the International Conference Center. You're wondering what should be priority, but
Questions upon questions.
hopefully they do something about it.
I think it boils down on priorities. But let's tell you what's coming up next. Coming up next, Lagos APC members protest, demand chairman's removal. We'll talk about that. Ahead of 2027 elections, don't give Kwankwaso undue attention. NNPP warns President Tinubu and strengthen the electoral process. We'll still take a look at that as well. Stay with us. Welcome back. APC members yesterday gathered at the Assembly Complex in Alausa, Ikeja, chanting solidarity songs and waving placards. Their grievances? Well, alleged sidelining of internal democracy, poor party management, and disconnection from the grassroots. The protesters, who claim to represent grassroots voices from all 57 local council development areas, staged a protest at the Lagos State House of Assembly, demanding the removal of their state chairman, Pastor Cornelius Ojelabi.
They accuse Ojelabi of orchestrating undemocratic practices and imposing appointees across local governments. Some even blame him for the party's loss to the opposition in Lagos for the first time since the Fourth Republic. Joining us for this discussion is an APC chieftain in Lagos State, Mr. Akin Bash. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Bash. Thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you so much.
Now, what's going on? It seems there's trouble in paradise. Is this really a grassroots revolt? And could this protest signal deeper fractures within the party's Lagos structure? Because it seems all is not well.
Anyway, thank you so much. My opinions are personal opinions, and I want it to be taken as that. But of course, as a member of the party, I do not think these claims are good enough for anyone to seek for the removal of the party chairman. Protests for me are legitimate, and they are, tools to express your concern where you have one. But the question that should agitate us is, how genuine is this protest? To what extent is it desirable? Are there protests that are orchestrated unnecessarily? Because for me, if you want to protest that the party chairman should be removed, why go to the State House of Assembly? The State House of Assembly is a public institution that has the responsibility for every Lagosian, everybody that lives in Lagos, whether you're in PDP, you're in APC and all that. So for me, I think it's misdirected. Protest against the party chairman, take it to the party secretariat. But to talk generally about APC, I would be surprised to know if there's any party that is as organized in terms of structure as APC. Because I know that across the state, all the various structures are running, and they are running very, very well. I have read some of the complaints of the protesters, and it has to do with maybe appointment into the local government offices. For me, I'm a leader in my own right, in my own local government, and I cannot claim not to have a very good idea of how these things are being, organized. The truth is this: in every setup, even in your own community or your own house, you have the principles that guide what you do within that setup. You understand? So, like the party spokesperson, Mogadi Sheyola, they just said, I mean, such complaints might make more sense at the local level. And I know very well that consultations are going on at the various local government levels as to who makes, the list, of the prospective cabinet members at the various local governments. So where there are issues, it's not impossible, but for me...
It's a family problem.
Yeah, you may want to call it that, but for me, I think it's an issue that has not gotten to the level at which it is being exaggerated.
But the highlighting on their grievances fall under the imposition of candidates. They're saying that there's an imposition of candidates and there's anti-grassroots policies. Of course, we know, just like every other party, you would want to pick your candidates looking at it from the grassroots, what the person has done to affect the grassroots. But they're now saying that it's a clear imposition and they wouldn't take that. It's affecting democracy. Also, let me highlight, they equally mentioned federal lawmaker James Faleke, and they're also calling for his removal.
That would be the joke of the biggest joke of there. You see, when people talk about imposition, it depends on what you're looking at. But for me, and you also know, I'm not sure there is any party in Nigeria that can come out too clean without guided approach to resolving matters. If you look at the last local government elections, you must give it to Lagos State. In the past, local elections have resulted in a lot of anarchy, a lot of violence, leading to death and all that. So any responsible party must know its history, must know its background, and should be able to come up with a formula that will ensure that, yes, lives and property are protected, and that, the interest of the party, is also protected. When people protest, you want to find out why are they protesting. When they are good with the party's decision, they are happy. But when the same system that they have benefited from is no longer tilting to their angle, you see people protesting. I have always been an advocate of, let's do it the way...
But you can't just dismiss their grievances. Like
they're talking about imposition of candidates.
No, I've not said they don't have any right to protest, but I'm saying what is the quality, what is the content, what is the intention of this protest?
Yeah.
What's the intention? That somebody is imposing...
Undemocratic practices.
What's undemocratic?
Imposing candidates.
Who determines...
Imposing, okay, so
when they say they impose, what do they mean?
So before the local government elections, there was a call for candidates to come purchase forms. Some did purchase these forms, and they were told that, don't worry, we have our preferred candidates, and we saw protests, and they said their monies were refunded to them. As at that time, I don't know if it's been refunded. And when you see this sort of things, it just goes to say that the APC at the state level is not interested in internal democracy.
No, I think that should be in the imagination of some people.
But we reported
just wait. Luckily enough, I was the person who was in charge of Ikorodu North primary election. All right? And I can tell you this clearly. When we got there, we spoke with the chairman. The chairman said, please, everybody must give the opportunity to, display his or her strength. And I can tell you here...
But that's Ikorodu. You can't speak for all 57.
Just wait. We're talking about Lagos State. Are we not talking about Lagos State? Yeah. I'm just telling you of my own experience. Is that clear? And at the state level, it was clear. There's nobody who will say that the delegates did not vote. They voted. It was in the media. And it was perfectly organized. So if they voted and the result of why do you think that your own vote should be the vote that must be given? For anybody to say people were imposed, that cannot be correct. Because it was in the glare of the public where the primary was conducted at the state secretariat. And all the delegates voted for the candidate of their choice. So what are they talking? Did they say the election held somewhere in somebody's room?
Now, talking about what they're saying, let's take a listen to one of the aggrieved protesters. Let's listen to this clip and then we'll come back to our discussion.
What do you want? Faleke àti àwọn alájà tẹrẹlẹ kọkọ làwọn kúrò ń bẹ olè ni wọn olè èyí tó jẹ tó èyí tó jẹ́ ó tó kí bàbá máa gbọ́ láti Abuja kí bàbá sọ fún wọn wọ́n máa bà Èkó jẹ́ fún wọ́n máa bàjẹ́ fún wọ́n máa bèkó jẹ́ fún àwọn èèyàn ń bínú wọ́n máa bèkó jẹ́ ọmọ fẹ́ ní ti ilé ó lè ní wọ́n ọmọ rẹ̀ máa ń gbé pé ìpọ́sì ìrọ̀lẹ́ ọmọ ọlọ́mọ tó ṣe dáadáa ẹ̀jẹ̀ ló ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ̀tọ́.
For the sake of our non-Yoruba viewers, I will just translate. He mentioned the member of the House of Representatives, Honorable James Faleke. He said, used some unpleasant words saying they're corrupt and what have you. As a typical player in Lagos politics and as somebody that is very familiar with grassroots and you've seen this sort of things play out, what do you think is happening here? Is it that they are aggrieved that they haven't been given some positions? Are they fighting for the general good of Lagosians in the best interest of citizens of Lagos? What is really going on here? Or were some largesse distributed that did not get to their side?
Okay.
I mean, because we are not politicians. We ask the questions. We can only make assumptions. That's why we're asking.
You know what? This kind of talks are commonplace in politics. I mean, different human beings come up to say anything.
Well, we're speaking with a lot of conviction.
What conviction is this? What
determination?
If you listen to him, you know there is no flow. Even when you say Faleke is a thief and all that, Faleke has eaten this and that. Can you attribute that to Faleke? You know, he now said they were imposing and all that. It's a common claim. You understand? One thing you should understand is this. There is no perfect system in the first place. There are rules and regulations guiding decisions. You understand? But when decision has not come your way, don't say that every other decision-making process is faulty. And don't also forget, if somebody is talking about constituting local government cabinets, a cabinet that is not yet formed, a cabinet that, that may not even be formed in the next 1, 2, 3 months. And so what is happening now that somebody is talking about imposition? You can't claim an imposition. It's only when the results are out, you understand, that you can now say somebody has been imposed. But the question is, whoever loses out will always complain.
Doesn't this scare the APC in Lagos State, seeing that there's seemingly a small shift in terms of divide? Because these people said they came from the 57 local councils and they came to air their views. So imagine the 57 going back and then passing the message to those in the wards and saying, listen, in 2027, let's ensure that we change things.
Or we work against the parties.
Are you not worried that this could happen?
In the first place, the claim of 57, it's easy to claim whatever number you want to claim. I mean, it's easy. Somebody tells you that hundreds of thousands of people, somebody will say they're all 1 million protesters and all that. But the point is, like I said earlier on, protesters are free to protest, most especially when they're peaceful. You understand? If people come all the way from the 57 local government, they will only go back to the same local government and tell their people, oh, this was what we were told. This is what the assurances. If you look at the media coverage of what the APC party spokesperson said, he acknowledged the fact that they could protest. But at the same time, he said there's no imposition anywhere, that consultations for whoever becomes a member of the cabinet is always taken at the local level. And he said, consult with your local leadership. We all know that is the process. We have local leadership. But if, for example, in a local government that you're talking about a particular number of slots, and you have hundreds, thousands of members, how do you, is it possible for every member to get the slot? No. So definitely, and those who take decisions, they also have the parameters and the benchmarks that guide what decisions they make. You understand? I think that, the process of reaching out to people, to members, is equally important. So they're fine. I mean, they're carried along, but there's a way you can carry everybody along. But there is a way also to let people know that, yes, whatever choices we're making are choices that are in the best interest of the party.
And it seems it's not only APC, some elements in Lagos APC that are not happy. Also, opposition parties, opposition political parties in Lagos State not also happy, especially in the wake of the just concluded local government elections. They described the elections as undemocratic and daylight robbery. The parties, including the Labour Party, Young Progressives Party, African Action Congress, Action People's Congress, and the Accord Party, make this in a joint news press conference. And we've also spoken to candidates of the PDP and the Youth Party for Etiosa here on Breakfast Central, and their first-hand information and account of what happened is far from democratic. They said Lasiek is a biased umpire, and they also mentioned what happened on elections day, that there were no elections in some parts, and the results that were declared. Would the APC admit that, look, the system is flawed, and they can promise to do better next time, but from what we saw in the last few weeks, it was short of a great democratic exercise.
In the first place, when you say you had the first-hand information, did you verify this information?
We had correspondence.
I can tell you this. In my own community, in my own area, you would never even find any young whatever party. No, even the Labour Party you're talking about, maybe you only see one or two of their representatives. Do you get that? Accord Party, they were even non-existent. So people will just come around here. Did they collect forms?
They even said that last year.
Please, they did.
I was just waiting for you to finish.
They collected forms. In what way?
And the forms were sold in high.
In what way were they prevented? Is it that people voted for them?
From last year, there was a lot of animosity. Right?
What animosity? Listen, last year has no problem with anybody. Last year, what did they do? It's a regulatory organization. You get your form on the basis of your party. They give you the go-ahead representing your party. How does that concern
They made the process cumbersome for opposition.
For instance, later on, they turned out there for the whole day. They asked for more documents. They had to bring certain documents. They had to bring this.
Look.
There are 2 days to
Can I ask a question? Even when you are sitting for a job, would they now ask you for documents?
No,
I can tell you,
the process was easier for APC.
It was not. Don't believe that. Was there any document that? The documents are basic things. Your voter's card, your tax clearance, your, credentials. What else? Are they asking for their marriage certificate?
Let's also look at the fact that...
No, please. You see, I've already said this. We also, on this side of the divide, we also need to make further investigation into some of these claims. There is no actual truth in it because, for example, now...
Okay, the gentleman in Ojo local government, he was here and he said, the Oniba of Iba chased them away during campaign. He even physically assaulted one of them, and this were on camera. We saw videos of intimidation. They said this is an APC area. You cannot campaign in this area if you're not part of the APC. How do you respond to things we saw on camera, physical evidence of intimidation?
From the person's phone, is it?
They recorded it. They recorded everything that was going on.
And he's written a petition to the Nigerian
He has written
to police documents.
Yeah, you see, I won't be able to speak, you understand, on that because I was never a part of it, and I'm just hearing that, you understand. But personally, I do not see why I should be debarred from expressing my democratic right.
And on paper, that would
no.
expect.
Yes. But let me tell you this. You are quoting a Liba of Iba. Within you, yourself, your people were out there to monitor this election. Was there any violence? There was not. None. Was anybody chased away from any polling unit? I'm not sure you can produce any record to show that. The election went peacefully. The turnout wasn't as good as you would expect. But I tell you this, most people who come here to say that they were debarred or that, they did not even have agents in most of these polling stations, polling units rather. They did not have agents. So when you don't have agents around, how do you now come over and be making excuses? They don't have agents, I can tell you this.
The Honorable Akugunda spoke about the Iba incident. He was a candidate of the People's Democratic Party, and he said it was during their campaign that the incident happened.
No, you see, in the course of campaign, So many things can happen. You understand? Do you get that? But even this person in question, was he now debarred from voting? Were people who are his supporters, were they stopped from voting? Do you get that? So if this ones did not happen, then we should be suspicious of all these claims. And
all right. Yeah. Anyway, there's a lot to look at. Part of the conversation here, especially for the protests, you've said that it's not going to affect the party going into 2027, and then there's no need for anyone to be worried. We also heard that the deputy governor did try visiting the area of the protests yesterday. He tried talking to them, but they seemed not to have given him any room to speak. And all chances or all opportunity he wanted to take to speak to them proved abortive, so he had to drive off. Has there been any need to call on these protesters from when they protested yesterday up until now? Has there been any need to call them and look at resolving the internal issues that's brewing? Or you don't see this, or you don't see this at all as an issue?
You seem to
you see, let me
not be bothered about that.
Let me say,
the opposition
no,
take advantage
you just wait. When the processes that led to the election of the local government chairman were on, you had more protests than what you're having. But as of today, as a result of the internal reconciliation processes, everybody is on the same page. Because
I mean, the protesters we saw are not on the same page.
That's what you're talking about. It's not for the council chairman. They're saying that the cabinet, the supervisors and all that are the process of putting them together is on. Do you get that? And you know, they will. I mean, they would like to be considered well. And that was what I was saying when I said, even if you have not seen the outcome of this compilation, on what basis is your claim that somebody is being imposed on you? Do you get that? On what basis are you protesting?
But are there the claims of the form going for 5 million naira?
Yeah.
And people having paid for the form, but ended up, remember the little scuffle, the fights that happened, where individuals were saying that they've paid, they ought to have been represented, their own, local government and so on, and then they couldn't. Don't you think this has also led up to this protest?
Sorry. If I have my product to sell and I say my product goes for 5 million naira, it's your choice to either buy, you don't buy. I mean, the requirements were open, were published. So why should anybody complain? It's nobody's business. I'm sorry, the forms are
they complain that after buying,
yes,
the party authorities still went ahead to impose.
What is my imposition? Okay, let me ask you this. You have 10 people who purchased a form for one position. Are you going to put the 10 of them in there? Wouldn't there be parameters to now decide who amongst those who have indicated their intention, you understand, I mean, to be given the opportunity to run? There's no magic about that. And I know clearly that the party said, please, don't just take form for the sake of taking it. Because the party will have no responsibility, you know, for whatever comes out of it. But I want to tell you that even after all of this, reconciliation took place at all levels. Between candidates, between party leaders and candidates and all that. And everybody came on the same page. So when this also comes, by the time the list of candidates come out, we will still come together, you understand, and look at it. But I know one is very sure, APC as a party has a way of ensuring that all grounds are covered. Do you get that?
Let me also ask, I mean, there's a very important concern, especially by Lagosians, those who you would say are members of your party and some who are not even members of your party. And the concern has got to do with the fact that just recently, names of streets were changed. It kind of looked like it was ethnic driven, or what many have called ethnic politics. Ifeanyi Street was removed and changed to Olamide.
Charlie Boy
bus stop was then removed, and of course called Olamide Bado. Isn't this reeking of tribal politics or ethnic politics, especially now? Is this the right time?
And it was done by an outgoing LCDA chairman.
Yeah, you see, there are so many things that you don't know.
But that's why you're here.
When you own a street, there are conditions attached to owning a street.
You don't really own
Can you share with us?
It's named after you, yeah.
When a street is named after you, what does that mean? It's my street. Okay? I mean, there's
mostly in honor.
Yeah?
Mostly in honor.
So if you are honored, and those people who honored you now think that you have not been honorable enough, you have not lived up to the honor and the expectation.
The political class.
You understand?
The elite.
Leave the
decision makers.
Leave the elite. Now,
a referendum wasn't made.
Leave the political class, okay? We are talking about government now. We're not talking about party politics. Don't mix it up. It is the government that gives or that names streets based on requirements. There are requirements for street to be given. Okay? So if you are honored, you must live up to that honor. If you don't live up to that honor, the community can say, sorry, look, I don't want to go into specifics. Go to that neighborhood and ask questions about this person you're talking about there. Go there, go and ask. Ask landlords, the house.
So the Ifeanyi streets that was changed to, is Ifeanyi too, was he? Because I mean, I understand that with Charlie Boy, you could say that because he's very vocal against this government. But with Ifeanyi,
or a historical road like Community Road that served the university community has historical schools like St. Finbar's College.
Yeah. University of Lagos.
Name change at the wings and
so Community Road, what have they changed it to?
It's been
Babajide
Sanwo-Olu Road.
Is this strange? It's not strange, for God's sake.
Okay.
It's not strange. You see, what we should understand is that there are reasons why some things are taken. It's only here that, everybody wants to think that, because it's Charlie Boy. Luckily enough, if a Charlie Boy street was taken away and a Bado comes in, are they not still within the same genre?
Anyway, it's been a great time talking to you. Thank you so much for always coming through and also explaining things happening to the All Progressives Congress, especially at state level here in Lagos. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's quickly share with you what's in the news, especially on other stories. And when we come back, we'll take a look at another important conversation. Our guest is waiting, and we'll have this conversation concerning the NNPP as they condemn Kwankwaso over North marginalisation remarks. Stay with us. Tensions have resurfaced within the new Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, as the party distances itself from recent comments made by its 2023 presidential candidate, Rabiu Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso had alleged that the Tinubu-led administration was marginalized in the north in federal road infrastructure projects, accusing it of channeling national resources disproportionately to the south. Now, he made the statement during a stakeholders dialogue on the review of the 1999 Constitution held in Kano.
And join us now for reactions to this development is the National Chairman of the NNPP, Honorable Agbo Major. Good morning, and thanks for joining us in Breakfast Central.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Now, I'd like to know the official position of the party on Alhaji Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso's comments with regards to marginalisation of the North?
The press release you see there, which has outrightly condemned Kwankwaso for making such a reckless statement, it emanated from us, from the leadership of New Nigerian People's Party, the NWC, led by myself. Of course, it's the National Secretary, Chief Ogini Olakwosi Sunday, that issued that statement. And it was in reaction to the reckless statement made by Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, a dismissed member of our party, who, of course, was our presidential candidate in the 2023 general election. We felt that the era of using the name of our party to make such careless and reckless statements is over by him, especially now that he has long ceased to be a member of our party. More so that the attitudes of NNPP always is that of constructive criticism. We don't just come on air, maybe to the newspapers or the TV, to begin to condemn a government that is in place without offering alternatives, by going deeper to say, okay, if it were us, this is the way we would have done it and all of that. But the good thing is that we're only reacting to a position that is long dead, because I also noticed that the presidency very swiftly reacted by churning out a retinue of projects that they have completed across the North, Unfortunately, our political leaders have continued to divide us along the lines of religion and tribalism, which is what Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso stands for. Otherwise, with what we saw as the official reaction of the presidency, it is obvious that a lot may have happened across the North in terms of infrastructural development, which is why he was calling the presidency out. And so doing this, taking advantage of, how do I describe it? Innocent voters and innocent followers by churning out lies, telling them what is not real, calls for serious questioning. And that is why our job as political parties is to continue to educate the electorate to be able to separate between the truth and what is not the truth, And so with that, the leaders who have continued to tell lies in the name of doing politics against the interests of the ordinary people, Nigerians will be able to identify them easily. But the summary of my position on that and the position of the party is that the presidency has reacted, and they didn't just react in a vacuum. What they did was they came out with a list of infrastructural development projects that are ongoing, and including those that have been completed across the entire North, including his own state, Kano, where I saw massive developments. I think there's a dam project, something like that, because I took my time to look at the list that the presidency brought out. So Nigerians must be wary, not only when Kwankwaso comes to speak as if he's speaking on behalf of NNPP, because he has long ceased to be our member, but also to understand that the antics of our politicians who tend to continue to, divide us along the naked lines of religion and tribalism and ethnicity, we have to continue to discountenance that. Because as it stands now, Nigeria is in a position where the time to build is now, the time to unite is now. And so anybody who has continued to do things that tend to separate us and disunite us is clearly against the development of our democracy as well as the stability of the nation.
All right. You mentioned at the start of this, responding to Benga's question, that Mr. Kwankwaso is no longer a member of the NNPP, but another divide of the same political party will disagree with you. As a matter of fact, it seems the other faction agreed that Mr. Kwankwaso is a bona fide member of the New Nigeria's People's Party. So let's allow you to break it down for us, especially for the benefit of those who are watching us from Kano and other states. Can you clarify if he still is a bona fide member, but has either been suspended, like we've seen the SDP suspend a former governor of Kaduna State for 30 years, or he's not a member at all, he has resigned? Where do we stand?
He never resigned. It was the party that asked him to go, in line with the provisions of the unique constitution we have, which we have always boasted in the open as a constitution that is completely different from that guides the operations of other political parties. We have various organs of the party, and all of them report to the Board of Trustees. And, these are things that we have repeatedly reinforced on air since 2023, that due process required, as at that time, that he be disciplined for getting deeply involved in anti-party activities shortly after the election. We saw how he had a series of meetings with other candidates of other political parties, how he also attempted to use the party to do things that are not in the interest of the party. And above all, the inquest that started and is still ongoing on the alleged mismanagement of the funds of the party, which were generated from the sale of funds and all of. On the grounds of that, first, he was invited in line with the provisions of our constitution in 2023. He refused to show up before a committee. The committee recommended to the NWC that he be suspended. He was suspended, and the NWC also went further to a convention that was held later in August of same 2023, where he was outrightly expelled in line with the recommendations of the various organs of the party. So since then, he has ceased to be a member of our party. He didn't resign. The party, in line with the provisions of its constitution, asked him to go. That is not the issue. Yes, they kept kicking. They tried to kick. They tried to mislead Nigerians on the TV screens and on the newspaper pages that what was done was not in line with the provisions of the Constitution. And so, as law-abiding citizens, what we did was to quickly move to the court, where we secured a very sound court judgment from Uzuakoli High Court in Abia State that confirmed his cessation of being a member of the party. That judgment clearly confirmed that. Okay. And when they were not comfortable with the judgment, they took us to a federal high court here in Abuja, where they were also roundly defeated, thereby confirming the position of the Abia High Court. So by both procedures of the party, as well as legal jurisprudence, Kwankwaso has long ceased to be a member of our party. I can say that emphatically.
Thank you for clarifying that, Honorable Agbo Major. Now, let's talk politics as we into 2027. There seems to be a new bride, a political bride in town, and I'm talking about the opposition ADC coalition, which is seen as a gathering of heavyweights in Nigerian political scene. What's the position of the NNPP on this coalition, and are there any inclinations, or are you thinking of joining the coalition, and what's the NNPP's plan for 2027? Do you think you can do it alone, or you will be pitching your tent with the ADC coalition? Did you get my question, sir?
No, not at all, not at all. I couldn't just hear you at all.
I'll repeat myself. I wanted to know the NNPP's position on the opposition coalition, ADC. Will you be joining the coalition as a party, or you will be going it alone in 2027?
Well, we respect the inalienable and unquestionable rights of Nigerians to associate under whatever name, while we also welcome what is going on under the umbrella of the ADC. What I can confidently tell you is that at the moment, we have not had any form of discussions with them as a group, as a coalition, but that say that as a political party, we should not freely relate with sister political parties. But what I can tell you comfortably, is that as of today, that I'm speaking to you and speaking to Nigerians and viewers all over the world now, we haven't formally opened any discussions, not only with the ADC, but with any other political party. We have always believed that the primary role of every political party is to be able to do its job, which is to galvanize people, put their views together, and then go look for run candidates for elections, win elections, and then implement the manifestos of such a political party. But that is not to say that if at any point you would need to collaborate with any other political party to be able to achieve your objectives of winning elections, to be able to execute your policies and manifestos, it's not an aberration. It's not an aberration at all. But what I can tell you as of today that we're talking is that we haven't had any form of discussions with the ADC. We also haven't had any form of discussion with any other political party. We are still primarily concerned with our primary role of standing firm as a political party, talking to people. In fact, we are even bothered that 2 years to an election, governance is allowed to suffer, not just suffer, because the distractions are so many. So they are not even allowing the government to concentrate in executing its policies. And we're worried about that. In the past, we used to know that there were one form of sanctions or the other for political parties as contained in the Electoral Act who move out ahead of when the whistle would be blown to go and campaign. But we're not seeing much of that from the present leadership of INEC. And I don't know if that is clearly an abdication of their duty, but we are worried with the way we are going, because very soon we'll get to a level where a year after election, those in office will begin to campaign instead of doing their job of providing democracy dividends to Nigerians. If in 2 years we're now campaigning, it means maybe during the next, as we move towards the next election cycle, which is 2021, after 2027, maybe there will just be 1 year of governance and then 3 years of politicking. If that happens, it means we have lost the real essence of democracy and the real essence of the provision of democratic dividends. And so we're worried about that. We're not in a hurry, but like I said, we haven't opened up any discussions with any other political party, including the coalition. Of course, they have tried to reach us repeatedly. Our position has been that we are still, you need to ensure that your house is firm so that you will now become a beautiful bride to be, wooed outside. So we are still looking towards doing our job of mobilizing people for 2027. We're not talking with any political party. We're not talking with any individual yet. And so, but when the time comes and we have any reason to have any form of understanding with the coalition or any other political party, we won't hesitate to inform Nigerians.
All right. We have just 3 minutes to go, so it means we need to speed up, and we'd like your responses to equally be fast before we go for the news. I want to play a video to you. Yesterday, we did speak with a guest who actually highlighted a situation happening in the SDP. And why he highlighted this, he broke it down for us. I'm talking about the SDP National Publicity spokesperson, Mr. Rufus Ayinigba. Please take a listen and take a look.
At his level, being a former minister, two-time governor, and all of that, we just felt that, he knows what to do and that he would do the needful. But we were alarmed when the SDP in Kaduna State, from his word, came up and said, no, he never at any point registered. His name is not on their register, the party register, and all of that. And that, obviously, we're not even comfortable with the activities that he was doing already. And at that point, we stepped in and said, okay, let's give his attention. We give his attention to it, but we just felt that, he will do the right thing. And he kept on with his activities. Obviously, he had a grand plan to take the structure of the party and deliver to the coalition. We never had any formal meeting with him at the National Working Committee level.
Okay, so we just wanted you to hear that because that's the national spokesperson for the SDP. And we have 2 minutes to go. He was talking about the former FCT minister, Mr. Nasir El-Rufai, how he came to the party and what he tried to do, and that's why he has been banished for 30 years. Is the NNPP willing to take the former FCT minister in if the opportunity comes?
Well, our attitude is always that when you get to a bridge, you design how you cross it. Until we have him, let's talk to us first. We will now know what to do next. But like I said, and I have always insisted, the era of impunity is gone. You can see how cheap the mistakes he made. And that's why this guy has comfortably described him as somebody that they had thought have the requisite experience to be able to do the right thing. How do you join a party when the Constitution says you must go to your ward to register? Eventually, his name is not on the ward register. And so which party would be dealing with such a person? If he comes to us, he's a Nigerian, he's free to join us. But what we will do is to insist that he follows due process, as constitutionally required, which is to go down to wherever he needs to fix his name up from and then begin to come up. He also alleged that they uncovered his plot to drag the party into coalition. Yeah, that's another one that he also has said. But like I said, I don't know what the SDP constitution says about such union, but every party has its ways of getting into such marriage or such union. And so I won't be at the position to comment on that, but it's a suspicion which they felt they needed to preempt and then be proactive in dealing with. And so that's what their party says they should do, and that's exactly what they've done. But if El-Rufai gets to us, as a Nigerian, we cannot deny him membership of the party. We would only insist that he goes down to do the right thing, which is to join the party from wherever he should join from constitutionally, so that he won't be jumping the gun like he has done now and then has found himself in this deep mess in the SDP.
Thank you so much, National Chairman of the NNPP, Honorable Agbomejo. It was an absolute pleasure speaking with you this morning on Breakfast Central, albeit a short time. I had a few questions to go, but I guess I'll leave it for next time. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Watching Breakfast Central here on News Central Television. We'll go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll bring you breakfast headlines. Stay with us. Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aburo. We begin with politics, where tensions are mounting within Nigeria's ruling party. Former members of the defunct All Nigeria People's Party, ANPP, a key bloc in the APC merger, warning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of a possible political fallout if their demands are not met. Speaking at a press conference in the nation's capital, Abuja, on Monday under the banner of the Association of Former ANPP Members, the group accused the Congress for Progressive Change, CPC, and the Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN blocs, of systematically marginalizing their faction, both during the Buhari administration and now under the President Tinubu administration. Reading a communique on behalf of the group, National Coordinator Professor Vitalis Ajunbe said the vice presidential slot must remain with the ANPP bloc, calling it not negotiable. He expressed frustration that despite producing key figures like Vice President Kashim Shettima and Governors Babagana Zulum and Maimala Buni, the bloc has been excluded from Tinubu's key appointments. The group announced plans to begin consultations across states and zones to brief their members and decide on their political future. In the meantime, former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has publicly endorsed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Governor Biodun Oyebanji of Ekiti State for a second term in office ahead of the 2027 general elections. Speaking at a political gathering in Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, Fayose declared his support for the re-election of the president and the continuation of Oyebanji's administration despite being a member of the opposition. Fayose, who stated that he is not a member of the All Progressive Congress, APC, said his support was based on performance rather than party loyalty. Let's now turn our attention to security matters. 35 kidnapped victims from Banga village in Kauranamoda local government area of Zamfara State have reportedly been killed by bandits over their failure to pay a 35 million naira ransom. Resident of the village, Sani Suleiman, said that the bandits abducted 53 people from the community and demanded 1 million naira per captive. According to him, the 53 kidnapped victims had been in captivity for several months, with only 18 of them able to pay the ransom and were released. Special advisor to Governor Dauda Lawal on security matters, Ahmed Demanga, confirmed knowledge of the incident but said he could not verify the number of those killed. And let's now bring you some health-related stories. Nigeria has recorded 152 deaths from Lassa fever so far this year, according to the report released on Monday by the NCDC. The case fatality rate has climbed to 18.7%, higher than 17.3% during the same period in 2024. As of epidemiological week 28, the country has recorded 6,520 suspected cases and 811 confirmed infections across 21 states and 105 local government areas. The NCDC noted that new confirmed cases in week 28 remain unchanged from the previous week, with fresh infections coming from Ondo, Edo, and Benue states. 5 states account for 89% of confirmed cases: Ondo, Bauchi, Edo, Taraba, and Ebonyi. The most affected age group is between 21 and 30 years, with a median age of 30. Health officials are urging the public to maintain good hygiene and seek prompt medical attention if symptoms appear. And in the foreign scene, tensions flared in Luanda, Angola on Monday as the city witnessed scenes of looted vandalism and street violence following the start of taxi drivers' strike over recent hike in fuel prices. The arrest comes after Angola, Africa's second largest producer of oil, raised the price of subsidized gasoline from 300 to 400 kwanzas per litre, equivalent to about 33 to 43 US cents. The change took effect on July the 1st, triggering widespread anger amongst transport workers and low-income citizens. In a statement, the Luanda provincial government confirmed reports of intimidation, attacks on vehicles, and destruction of public and private property. Officials condemned what they described as acts of violence and vandalism and aggression against workers. The latest strike follows a string of protests, including a demonstration by roughly 2,000 people on Saturday, with similar rallies taking place over the previous 2 weekends. And now to the Ukraine war. In a significant diplomatic update, United States President Donald Trump has announced a new tightened deadline for Russia to end its war with Ukraine. Speaking from Tunbury, United Kingdom, President Trump said he will give Russian President Vladimir Putin just 10 or 12 days to bring an end to the conflict. Addressing reporters alongside United Kingdom Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, Trump expressed frustration with the lack of progress as tensions persist in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. This move signals increased U.S. impatience and set a tight time frame for potential diplomatic breakthroughs.
A new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today. There's no reason in waiting. There's no reason in waiting. It's 50 days. I want to be generous, but we just don't see any progress being made. You know, Russia could be so rich right now. Instead, they spend all their money on war. They spend everything on war and killing people, and it doesn't make sense to me. I thought he would want to end this thing quickly. I really felt it was going to end, but every time I think it's going to end, he kills people.
Could a meeting help, and are you considering, has been proposed, to meet in Turkey in August?
I'm not, I'm not so interested.
And that's all on Breakfast Headlines. I am Benga Aburo at Breakfast Central.
Well, it's bright and early. In case you just joined us, this is Breakfast Central, away from the breakfast headlines. We do have Mr. Ikechukwu Amechi joining us, the publisher of the Niche newspaper, to run things into action. But most importantly, I thought I would see Mr. Ikechukwu right now juggling the ball, because it seems like the future is bright on the other side.
Yes, not medical doctors, not university professors, but footballers. But
football?
I mean, great
$1,000?
$1,000?
Joe,
100,000.
Yeah. That's about, 100,000. That's about
153
million.
153, because the exchange rate at the time Mr. President made that pronouncement was 1,530 something.
Do you think it was an error? Because I'm finding it hard to believe.
It wasn't an error. I think he did that not deliberately. Well, if we are going to kickstart the conversation, again, let me join all well-meaning Nigerians in saying kudos to our girls. They did all of us proud. And you know, sports is about the only thing that unites Nigerians. And in this era of very toxic politics, as we go inch closer to 2027, that victory becomes an Elysia, kind of. It is a national reason to be happy once again, even if it is going to be for a moment. So it was a glory, and of course the dramatic way it came, coming from behind 2-0 to clinch that victory, it was euphoric. So kudos to the girls. But then, and also, I would say kudos to the president for deeming it fit to celebrate people who went out there, conquered the continent. They said it is Project X. And for the 10th time, they've won the Women African Football Tournament. It is good that they were celebrated, given national honors and all that. But people are also asking, is $100,000, of course the president said the equivalent in Naira, which I said is going to be at least
153 million.
153 million, given the current exchange rate. Is it not excessive? Is it not on the high side? A lot of people are not going to be happy with me hearing this. But of course, I won't be surprised, because we are a very hypocritical people. A precedent has been set with this. What if other girls go out there tomorrow not to win again? Are you going to give them 100,000? And look, this is the 10th trophy. What of those people who have won from 1 to 9? And some of them very great players who also gave their all to play for Nigeria.
And were not even honored.
Some of them are not part of this team. People like Oshola are lucky that
she was still part of the team.
That she was still part of this team. What of those people that have dropped out of the team? And very many of them.
And
are you going to also do something for them? And look, it raises a whole lot of questions, particularly when we remember that this money we are splashing as if money was going out of fashion. Much of it was borrowed.
Yeah, we still put in a $21 billion request. National Assembly recently.
much of it was borrowed. And if you also consider that the nurses gave a warning that they're going to start strike tomorrow,
Even the doctors.
And the doctors have started yes,
Lagos State doctors.
Because of unpaid, because of unfulfilled promises and all that.
Soldiers' feeding allowance just going to increase to 3,000 naira per day.
Exactly. So
this year,
you wait and yes, the gears. Look, giving them national honors is a big thing.
And a house. And a 3-bedroom flat in the renewed Hope Estate once it's ready.
A big thing. Don't forget that the Governors Forum also came with 10 million.
10 million.
To each of them.
Each of them.
So what's this competition to outdo themselves?
It is
rewarding. When you have academic excellence, people, you have first-class graduates that are looking for jobs.
Benga, we find a way. This government, I'm sorry to say, because people are going to say, you criticize almost everything that this government does, but that's not the issue. The issue, like I said, is that it is good that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu deemed it fit to celebrate people who went out there to bring us national honors. What we are saying, the scale, can it be sustained? What if tomorrow, okay, what do you call them? The Super Eagles.
Win the AFCON.
Win the AFCON.
I mean, this is AFCON. If they win the Female World Cup,
what will you do?
They give them the entire budget.
So, and don't forget, a country as rich as America, when their girls won the World Cup, what was given to them was equivalent of how much? So how can a country that is borrowing its way into perpetual poverty be giving $100,000 equivalent to each player for winning WAFCON? I think it is excessive. The idea behind the reward is good, but the reward system needs to be re-evaluated because, look, university lecturers don't earn this much.
Even the sports itself, is this money?
Even the sports, even the Nigerian female Premier League, even the Premier League
channel towards developing female football.
Exactly.
It will be much better. It will make many more millionaires.
Many more millionaires, many more footballers, many more.
So you're going to create more talents. You're going to nurture more talents and all that. So it is something that we need to continue interrogating. But like I said earlier, I think the president, it is the same way the government rolled out everything to give our former president a decent burial. But again, you could see a whole lot of politics in there.
You know, naming of this and that.
2027 is around the corner. So the president is just latching on everything to show that he is doing something.
It's around the corner for the political class, but calendar-wise, it's not around the corner.
And that's why our last guest said he wonders what INEC is doing.
No, it because, you know, even for the for the people that are not politicians, by the time you know it, 2025 is already going, and we go into 2026, and when you go into 2026, you start going into party primaries, party conventions, and all that. 2027 election is conducted early, around February. So it is
pretty much 2026 is just the year.
Very true.
2026 is the year.
February,
primaries, campaigns, and so on.
It's around the corner. But the other point I also want to make on the Super Falcons is that what I find very, very gratifying about that victory and about the team is what Nigerians can actually achieve when you remove quota system, when you remove ethnicity, when you remove religion, look at that team.
A mix.
Look at that team that won that title. Nobody is
asking, are you
Igbo? Are you Yoruba?
Who's your godfather?
Are you Awasa? Are you this thing? We simply assembled a team made up of competent girls who know how to ply their thread, who know how to play soccer. And they went out there to deliver. Is anybody asking that they, Esther Okoronkwo,
why did she score?
Who scored the first goal?
Let's zone the strikers to the north.
Where is she from?
Yes.
Did anybody ask the lady who scored the second goal, where is she from?
Yes.
Did anybody ask where the lady who scored the third goal? It didn't matter. What mattered was that Nigerians defeated Morocco.
We have Chudi
in the final.
We have Chudi on the line. Let's take the call. Good morning, Chudi. Hello, Chudi. Can you hear us?
Yeah, good morning.
I'm afraid you need to speak up.
But let's get straight into the papers. Can we have the Punch, right? Punch newspaper? The top headline there says, APC kicks as opposition back single-day polls. They don't want that. Federal government launches crackdown on MDAs after 300% surge in impress claims. Okay. And U.S. birth tourism crackdown sparks Nigerian hospital reform calls. Donald Trump doesn't want citizenship by birthright anymore, and they're looking at those immigration figures. Tinubu splashes 4.95 billion naira cash and houses on Falcons. It's really a splash of largesse and goodies. Federal government may, Electricity Act Amendment Bill, federal government may sell 11 discos to new investors. NERC to enforce discos recapitalization, reprivatization amendment bill at the National Assembly. Lassa fever death toll rises to 152, that means 811 cases. New electricity law unleashes widespread crisis. States versus discos. The states are saying one thing, the discos are disagreeing with them. GAC in turmoil as faction moves to sack Lagos APC chairman. We did talk about that, one of our top stories. And cheating, Ondo girl nabbed for stabbing boyfriend to death. That's the price he paid for cheating. Quite a very tragic and sad story there. Nurses strike to hit hospitals nationwide Wednesday. Nurses are striking, doctors are striking. But let's go with the APC kicks as opposition back single day.
Single day polls. What's your thought?
I believe it's 4 elections in one day.
Yeah.
States houses of assembly, House of Reps, Senate, presidency, governors. 5. Wow. 5. That's massive.
Look, other countries are doing that. I think in Kenya, all their elections take place one day. This idea of having the presidential and the National Assembly elections in one day, and then having the state houses of assembly and the governorship election another day, sometimes 2 weeks.
So, Mr. Mechi, logistically, what difference would it make, and what changes?
Logistically, you have to do a lot more. That means that the man who is going out there will be handed 5 ballot papers to vote at the same time. So there are so many things that we should do in terms of logistics, in terms of preparations, everything. But when you weigh it side by side with the cost of staggered elections, which is what we have now, I think it is much more advantageous.
Because you're doing it, you're repeating the same
to us. Because what you're doing is that every 4 years, INEC comes up with a bill of 300 and something billion. I am sure 2027 it is going to be even more.
Yeah, maybe get into about 600.
Yeah. It is going to be even
Times
more.
2.
Because what happens is that the elections are duplicated because the same processes, the same protocols, the same logistics, the same everything that you do the first day,
you have to repeat it.
You have to repeat it. You have to deploy soldiers, security men. You have to deploy almost the same thing over again instead of using that same election to do everything. So it will bring down the budget. And, you know, people, after the presidency, people now sit down to begin to plot how to rig. And if you have noticed, that is why there is always this argument. Those who are afraid of the ability of the party that has just won the presidency to determine who now wins the governorship and the dissent, they would rather want the governorship and the state houses of assembly election to take place first.
So they can recalibrate.
So that they can recalibrate. But the presidency has always ensured that the presidential election comes first. Because if you don't do it that way, if you hold the governorship election first, there are people who will vote for a particular governor, a particular party for the governorship, but vote against the presidency.
For example, the last election.
When they are sure that they have now comfortable with their own seat. But they can't do that when the presidential election comes first.
Yeah.
So these are some of the problems. It could reasonably reduce the level of rigging, whether you call it technical rigging or not, but it could tone down.
Or it might even increase it, because you're looking at 5 different elections, all the correlation,
It won't increase anything, because it is the same process. It is the same process.
Results.
Everything. The elections, are they better now that you do this? No. The same people who want to rig will always find a way of doing that. So the problem we have is not that the elections are this. It is that the politicians are determined. But all I'm saying is that when you do all the elections the same day, everybody will be fighting for his own political survival. So you don't have to, as the president, you won't now use the decision of the president-elect or the party that has been elected to now go and influence. Look at what happened in 2023. After the presidential election, which was won by a certain political party in places, in some states. During the governorship election that took place 2 weeks after,
they didn't win in those places.
They made sure
that
they made sure
that they won.
That they won. In spite of what the people did or wanted to do, they made sure. Because if all those elections in 2023 had taken place the same day, no, it would have been a different electoral map that would have been drawn in 2023.
All right. I'm sure the single-day polls is just this first hearing. Let's hope that it scales through the second,
and then, I mean, the president wants
and don't forget that the president has to sign.
Assent. Would he work against the interests of his party?
That's
they have to consult. And it looks like majority of them would not.
The president won't sign it. Even if it goes through the National Assembly. But I can also assure you that with the lawmakers we have in the National Assembly, it won't pass.
Let's look at another one. U.S. birth tourism crackdown sparks Nigerian hospital reforms calls. We do know it's a common practice that some Nigerians would rather travel outside to give birth to their children in the United States, of which later on they become citizens of that country. And now Donald Trump, the president of the United States, is now taking full attention, putting his attention on that. The repercussion seems to be like we need to now really focus on fixing our healthcare systems.
Do we need a Donald Trump and his policies to actually agree that we need to revamp our health system? Do we need a Donald Trump to know that it is in bad taste for a man who was president of this country for 8 years to die in a London clinic when he was not on exile? Do we need a Donald Trump to tell us that the medical tourism that takes a toll, a financial toll, on the economy of this country needs to be reversed? Do we need a Donald Trump to tell us that nurses, midwives, medical doctors need to be paid well to stem this tide of migration in the health sector? Do we need a Donald Trump? Is it not in our enlightened self-interest that our hospitals work, that our hospitals, because look, a healthy nation is a prosperous nation. You can't, there's no way you will avoid, if your people can't feed well, they are not healthy, they are not educated, you will ever remain a third world country.
Let me just read through this story for the benefit of our viewers who are tuning in. The United States has vowed to withhold visa approval from Nigerians whose sole purpose and aim is to actually go to the United States or travel down there just for a primary purpose of birth tourism. The message was actually put on X. They put the message on X. The U.S. mission in Nigeria issued a warning and they posted on X handle where they said the practice was no longer permitted.
But it's not discrimination
in the United States.
I mean, pregnant women have the right to travel.
But being that they said it is sole primary.
You might not know, it's a call of nature.
Call of nature.
Yes.
It's different, but you see, Benga, it's different from someone who has been
from
there
8 months pregnant. 8 months pregnancy.
We don't know. They said so. It also said, let me read through so we get it. It said, we will deny your visa. We will deny, let me not point fingers at you, say it won't be maybe.
You can point at me, I don't have any plans of going to the United States.
We will deny your visa.
And I can't be pregnant.
If we believe your primary purpose of travel is to give birth in the United States to get a U.S. citizenship for your child, I think no need to go back to the story. Mr. Mechi has done justice to that story, and it's clear that it's high time. It's high time we fix
this. We must fix our health sector. Look, we don't need Donald Trump to tell us if President Bola Tinubu can afford to go to France every other month. What about the poor people here who, when they go to hospitals in Nigeria, is almost like going to die? It doesn't make sense. And with the high cost of drugs now, look, even if it is malaria, you go to a hospital, if you are going to spend the night, be prepared to pay at least 100,000 naira.
And most people don't have health insurance in the first place.
How many people can afford it? The worst thing that can happen to you in Nigeria today is to be sick. Is to be sick. No matter how rich you think you are, common ailment
can bring you down.
We dig a very deep hole
in your pocket.
In your pocket. So, look, there is no way Nigeria can afford what is going on in the health sector right now. And the earlier we advise ourselves, whether there is a Donald Trump out there or not, the people who are going abroad for health and tourism are the big people. So that even if America is not coming up with this policy, how many of our people can even afford medical bills in Nigeria, not to talk of going abroad? We must do things. We must build good hospitals. We must have the equipment to treat our people locally. We must have schools that will train our people, capacity building. That's the only way we can build a nation. When they tell us they are borrowing to build roads, build bridges, build flyovers, fine. Infrastructure is good. But a people that are sick
cannot use the bridge.
Cannot use the bridge.
Yeah.
In any case, if you are dead, you are dead.
That's all.
If you don't have good schools, you cannot train the right caliber of people, the human capital that will propel this nation to the next level. So we must prioritize health issues, we must prioritize education if we are desirous of being where other nations are. That's the point I'm trying to make. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump, that we must be able to treat our presidents locally for our prestige, national security, for everything that will make us a sovereign state. We must be able to get to that level, that our governors must be able to go to hospitals. Ironically, these governors will tell you that they have built world-class hospitons, like Senate President said when he was
governor of Akwa Ibom State, and former governor of Kogi State said he built world class, and now he's asking to travel out. They say, go and use your world class now.
It doesn't make sense.
Please, let's quickly move to another paper very quickly. I'd like us to look at This Day, This Day newspaper. This Day. E-payment transactions rise 17.7% to 284.99 trillion naira in Q1. POS transactions hit 10.45 trillion naira, record 209% increase. Of course, you know why. We have the POS operators littered around the streets, even graduates, everybody.
And you can't get money from the banks.
And you can't get money from the banks anymore. Sad. Peter Obi, president, using misleading statistics to conceal economic hardship. I remember I saw the tweet yesterday. He said when president was campaigning, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he was on stage and said, "Shey statistics we go chop." He said, but now, while the president said that, now the president is trying to use statistics, but he went ahead to say that statistics is not, in other words, it's not a true statistics of what Nigerians are facing. People of Wall Street Falcons, we've taken that. Just two stories here. Which one would you rather touch?
I want us to talk on the e-payment transactions.
Yeah.
That's an astronomical rise, but it's coming out. I mean, it's when you talk about financial inclusion, cashless policies, going with global best practices, and POS transactions hit 10.45 trillion, records 209% increase. That's just in Q1 2025. That's astronomical. Is this worthy of celebration? We also talk of jobs that it's creating. We now have POS agents. I don't know if the government would include them in its employment statistics, just the same way we have people that operate. Nigeria is a country that gives people jobs that shouldn't really be jobs in the first place. Elevator operators. What floor are you going to? Third floor.
Third floor.
Press it. I mean,
so that you don't. The reason why they do that so that you don't spoil the button. So people enter there and they spoil the button. So don't touch. We'll touch it for you. But let's look at the percentage.
Well, like I said earlier, it's a no-brainer. Because when you go to the banking halls these days, you don't get more than 20,000.
Yeah, they're discouraging us from the use of cash.
Then you go to ATM machines.
You pay 600 naira to withdraw
5,000
naira or 10,000 naira.
And I don't know the last time I went to any bank to cash a check or even to an ATM, because you go to ATM where you can't get 5,000.
You can't.
Or
that's even if it's working.
Exactly. So people naturally gravitated to the POS operators. The irony is that these POS agents are right there in front of the banks, where you can't get 20,000 from the counter, and where you can't get 5,000 from the ATM, but you can do a transaction of 1 million.
And you get cash.
And you get cash.
So what's CBN doing?
Where are they getting their money from? It is the same way you go to the banks and you can't get any new notes. You go to a party, wedding, you see people carrying bundles of new notes,
telling you to buy,
and selling it. Where did they get it from?
Even though EFCC has highly discovered that and are clamping down on it. But
where are they getting it from? I don't know about EFCC clamping down on them. This weekend, attend any function, whether it is wedding, whether it is naming ceremony, you will see them.
Cash.
New notes.
Mint. I don't know the last time I got mint from an ATM machine.
Or the bank.
Or the banks.
No. And you get the two denomination of if it's 1,000, the old and the new,
so
mixed together.
You don't get that. So how these are some of the distortions in both our fiscal and monetary policies that don't make sense.
It's kind of absurd
to anybody, because you can't explain it.
No, it's obvious. The government is encouraged. It's obvious.
You can't
because
explain it. Apparently, the POS operators, of course, they get their cash from the banks.
Yes, but the argument is financial inclusion, that we're forward-moving, we're living in a cashless world, that if you go to other climes, your fridge would even order groceries for you when it sees that it's low, and that we're becoming an advanced economy. Is that not a valid enough argument?
It's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there.
Whether it is valid or not, the truth of the matter is that most times, even the best of policies, you distort them. You see, I was in China the other day. You don't even see ATM machines again. People carry their money on their phones. Their wallets are in their phones, because somehow the issue of fraud and others are minimized when you do these financial transactions electronically. Money can be properly monitored than when you do cash. You know, in those days, traders in Onitsha and all that will pack millions of naira in Ghana must go, enter 9th bus, and somebody will squeal on them, and armed robbers will attack them. You don't hear those stories again. That people...
Armed robbers don't even go to people's houses anymore, because you won't...
Exactly. But the truth of the matter is that the financial inclusion is there. The
mobile banking, USSD.
It has reduced the risk associated with carrying cash.
Physical cash.
Nobody can argue that. But then, we need to also factor in this in the banks. Are they doing what they are supposed to do. Why can't you get money if you decide to go and
or why
take...
does the money go to other people to use for business?
Exactly. Who are those ATM operators? Who are they fronting for? People have alleged, I can't say that for sure, that most of these ATM operators are also agents of the banks or the bank executives. So these are the distortions. So whether there is growth or no growth in that sector, of course, it should be expected that there must be growth. If you can't get cash or if you can't get money from the banks, of course, you have to go to ATM, POS, now to get it. So there should be real growth in that sector. It is even going to grow more.
Mr. Mechi, we're out of time. I don't know if you can do this in 1 minute.
Okay.
Daily Trust, top left. Attacks on journalists rising under current administration, according to report.
Well, that was what the media rights agenda said. I think they have their own statistics.
Yes.
To level this allegation, but I don't think it is. You can argue it in both ways. Every day we come here to do this newspaper review, and nobody has arrested me out there. As long as what you are saying is true, if you are not, because freedom of expression is not a license not to libel. It's not a license. If you're not sure of your data, if you're not sure of the numbers, you better not level allegations that you can't.
Yeah, that's why we have gatekeepers and editors like
prove. So but some agents of government, like the EFCC, are now deploying the Cybercrime Act to go against
anybody.
I think that is what MORA is saying. Some journalists have been picked up, but the Minister of Information today, I must say, is doing a very good job in terms of interfacing with the newsrooms, in terms of being the middle person between the government
and the press.
And the press.
All right.
And we only hope that it gets better. People should talk. The man who is in government today made his political career based on what he was able to say in the opposition.
All right. Well,
this is where we leave it today. There's always so much to talk about. Thank you so much, Mr. Ikechukwu.
Thank you.
Amechi, publisher of the newspaper. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Ben.
And I wish we could have you every day, but you have to do other things. Let me not lie, I told the guests we had yesterday the same thing.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow.
Let's go and play football. Hopefully we'll make some.